All hands, hoist the colors high.
Welcome back to another edition of the Blake and Blake Show. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with
Blake Anthony.
Yes, a draft recap as the weekend is over. The draft is in the books. In case you guys didn't tune into the sports web, shame on you. We went 6 hours yesterday. 6 hours yesterday.
Draft burnt out, man.
Well, 4 hours the night before, and then we went about 3.5 hours the night before that. So if you didn't get your draft fix, I'm sorry. The replays are out there, but we will definitely recap the draft tonight, right before the Lightning game. The Tampa Bay Rays have taken care of business today. They sweep the Minnesota Twins, winning 4-2. And, of course, a must-win game situation for your Tampa Bay Lightning. As they're down 2-1, they lose to the Canadians in overtime. So plenty to talk about. Open phone lines. The numbers up there, I believe. Blake has control of this. Yes, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So there you go.
So where you want to start? You want to start with
well, I mean, I think we got to start with Thursday, because everybody was shocked that he was going to be there. We know that there were allegations that came out about two incidents. One was a tragic situation. Again, he was never criminally charged with. I'm just surprised he was there. Rueben Bain Jr., of course, sets the it's kind of like history repeating itself again, right? Warren Sapp drops all the way down to the Bucs at 12. Rueben Bain Jr. drops down on Thursday night. There was talk they were going to take Mesidor, but they had no idea, no inclination that Rueben Bain Jr. was going to be there. Teams passed up on him. And I think the Bucs knocked it out of the park when it comes to this draft, especially with this first pick on Thursday night. What do you say?
Yeah, like you have to. I know I watch other people. They be like, "Well, I didn't scout Rueben Bain because I didn't think he was a bad breed." You always got to scout everybody because you have no idea what can happen. Here's another example: the kid, the corner out of Tennessee, he fell to the fourth round where the Raiders picked him up. McCoy with the whole knee thing. Who knows? His knee might turn out all right. Now it would have been a steal for him, but it happens every year. Ty Simpson getting picked up is what threw everything off.
My bad. I've got you.
You're good, man.
Yeah, I'm just sharing it right now, so you continue.
I'll keep going. It was and then the other one was Love going to 3 to Arizona. That 3 to Arizona, and then Carnell Tate going to the Titans
at 4.
Was at 4. Yeah, those were the things that tossed everything up because nobody expected them to go there. They expected the Browns to pick up Tate. You know, it was just a mixture of everything. Like, I'm sure a lot of people's mock drafts were all screwed up, but that's just what happens. Some people may feel one way coming to the draft, and the day of the draft, they got a different feeling and decide to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
it happens.
Well, it happens, and it's a good thing for the Bucs because the Bucs definitely needed something along those lines because, as we talked about, they had to get better when it came to rushing the passer, and that's exactly what I feel like they've been able to do at this point with just getting one player, because Bain Jr. can do it all. He can rush from the inside. He can rush from the outside at this point. He's got great bend, and he's going to make those players around him better, especially Yaya Diaby, Vita Vea. Of course, hopefully Kalijah Kancey is healthy at this point, but they didn't stop there. But, for me, just one player makes that much of a difference, and that's how dominant he was in college football last year. Yesterday, which was yesterday. Last year, right, for the Miami Hurricanes, one of the most dominant college football players in all of the land. So amazing stuff there for the Bucs.
And the key part, he played a lot of his good games in the biggest moments. It wasn't like he played played really well against the Little Sisters of the Poor and dominated that game. You played it against all the best teams in the playoff, and nothing changed. The game stayed the same. So if that can translate to the pros, That's going to be great. And we talked on air and off air about it. Bain don't have see it, man. You know what's going to happen in Tampa, Peter, too. Now with all the expectations, they're immediately going to expect Bain to get like 12 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I could care less if he doesn't get 12 sacks. If he's causing all this type of disruption and everybody on a defensive line is getting 7 and 8 sacks, that means everybody's contributing. It doesn't necessarily have to be just one guy that has to get all your sacks. If you're getting sacks from everybody, that's mountains of a progress on your defensive line with getting just disruption within another offense's backfield.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I definitely think it will help. Anything will help at this point. We know that it's tough to, draft a guy as a rookie for him to come in and get double-digit sacks. Only 6 players in the last 10 years have been able to do that. So it'll be interesting to see, what the transition period is with him and, how Todd Bowles will be able to use them. I know there is the Tampa toxic tribe out there that believes the triple T that when they drafted Bain Jr. that, there you go. Bucs are cooked. This guy right here. I mean, he's clearly a Bucs hater and he's a troll. And I know who he is.
That's right.
He's cooking right there. But a lot of the Tampa toxic tribe, as we call them, that's our new nickname for them.
Yep.
We know who they are. They're a part of the Bucs Life Media, which we are a part of. And everything the Bucs do, anything the Bucs do, they're never satisfied. They're always upset. They're like a bad girlfriend. That's basically what it is, a toxic relationship. That's why we call them the toxic Tampa tribe. They think that Bain Jr., that Bowles will kind of, have them go out and play coverage and this and that and the other thing. This is exactly what they're not going to do. They're going to have him rush the passer. That's what you assume that they're going to do this year differently. And I would say this, Todd Bowles hasn't necessarily had the weapons. Now he has all the weapons to run his defense the way he wants to do. Just my opinion.
Jason Light has finally helped the man out. And that's why Jason gave Todd so much praise when everybody goes, oh, well, Bowles this, Bowles that. Like Jason knows, he said it several times that he hasn't done everything in his power to help that defense. I'm like, I tell people last year, I'm like, who are the stars that's not named Vita Vea or Levante David on that defense?
Yeah.
And everybody just has a blank stare on your face. I'm like, that's exactly what he's working with.
Right.
So you're trying to turn chicken shit into chicken salad. But still, that's his job to make it work. But at some point, and it was last year, that rubber is going to meet the road. It's just like you've got to upgrade at some of these spots. You can only get so much potential and stuff out of people where they reach their limits, and they reached their limits, whether it was age, whether it was just being a scrub, whatever it was. But some things needed to change.
Right. And you got a fan right now, Oscar, saying, with how good the draft was, would it be justified to say we should go deeper in the playoffs than before? If not, should they fire the GM and head coach? Just a question, not hating on anyone.
That's a good question.
It's a good question. I think it definitely will be considered. I think Todd Bowles is definitely is on the hot seat, whether it's fair or not. I would just point this out there. They definitely have an opportunity to win the NFC South. They can definitely come back. I think a lot of fans considering it, that the season's already over at this point before it even started because you lose Mike Evans and Levante David is unfair. We'll see how it all plays out, but I definitely think that's a question that a lot of Bucs fans will have. How deep do they have to go for him to save his job? I think they have to have improvement. You can't go 2-7 in the second half of the year and expect to keep your job. If you do that again, if you have a midseason swoon where you're losing games, and I definitely think that question is a valid one, but as far as what they did in the draft, they've definitely set themselves up not only for this year, but for the future. And going into the second round here, and we kind of talked about a controversial pick because you were on the sports web at the time. Josiah Trotter, everybody wanted Jacob Rodriguez. Didn't necessarily happen because the Dolphins broke a lot of Bucs fans' hearts with not only Jacob Rodriguez, but Kyle Lewis, another linebacker. Yeah, 2 linebackers they drafted. So they go with Josiah Trotter at this point. People said C.J. Allen was better. I don't know where they got their draft credentials.
People get so caught up just watching the highlights. They're like, oh, yeah, that's the guy. But like, they're highlights. That's why they're called highlights. What is he doing all the rest of those highlights? Right.
Right. I don't know what kind of plays he made because I didn't watch a lot of Georgia football, and I don't know if he made a big-time difference for Georgia football, but I do trust Jason Lyon, and I do trust that organization to know that they do all this scouting. They're not just looking for names. They're meeting with players. Is he great in coverage? No, he's not necessarily great in coverage. I think that's a big time key coming in. Can he get better in coverage? I think J.C. Allen said it best. He's athletic to get better in coverage. He's got to be coached up, and he'll get that coaching from a Mike Caldwell and the coaches on this staff. And if they don't, then of course he won't develop like they want him to. But definitely great tackler, will hit you, has an attitude. I think that's what a lot of Bucs fans noticed with, drafting these players is the fact of, they have an edge to them. They have a mentality. They have an attitude. It was always said that, the Bucs are looking to draft this guy and this guy because he's got a good attitude, and not saying you don't have to have a good attitude. I mean, good character, stuff like that. Right. These players seem like they have an edge. They have a chip on their shoulder. There's something good about that. It's refreshing. Get players that come in here with the chip on their shoulder. Get players in here that are physical, want to have that physicality, want to have that aggression. Get this defense back to what they were in 2020. Get this defense back to what they were in the old days. And the only way you do that is not only get talent, but also get that attitude that fits what you want to portray right now. And it certainly seems like the Bucs want to have those players with an edge. So we'll see how that works. But Trotter at second round, what did you think of that pick?
It was to fit. Like he's a guy that goes for that scheme. That's the kind of guy that they want. They want a run fit defender that's going to be in their gap. Mm-hmm. If you watch a lot of the podcasts with Levante David and Gerald McCoy, they didn't say names, but they said there was a lot of people getting blown out of their gaps and missing gaps last year. So you're looking for guys that's going to have to fight for jobs and spots because of those big runs they were giving up. So they definitely addressing if Josiah can do that. That puts a little bit more perspective of where he's at. So I looked at NFL Draft Buzz where they had Josiah. So everybody's like, oh, he could have got him in third, fourth round. Not necessarily. So they had all the linebackers rated: Bailey, Reese, Styles, Allen, Hill, Rodriguez, Gabe Jacques. They still have him as a linebacker, but he's plus an edge rusher. And then it was Trotter at 8. Mm-hmm. And at the time, only people you had on the board was Allen, Hill, and of course Trotter. So it's not like they picked the bottom of the tier guy. They had Josiah rated at an 85.0 and Rodriguez was only at 85.2, so they weren't that far off as far as the way their grades are. So it's really at this point, as far as fans, it's who you just like, because I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't watch a whole lot of Texas Tech. I'm sure a whole lot of you guys didn't watch Anthony Hill Jr. in Texas. You were probably watching Texas to watch the Manning boy. Well, you weren't paying attention to Hill, but same thing with Trotter. I mean. Yeah. But as long as he fits the system, I mean, that's all that we can ask for. If they're going to ask him to drop back in coverage, they can drop him back in coverage. I mean, we'll just see. But we know Bowles will probably get back to blitzing this year. He took a huge step back last year. They were not blitzing like they used to. You did not see Antoine Winfield coming off the edge like you did. Tyke Smith, you didn't see a lot of that last year. They took a big step back last year as far as not blitzing.
Well, and then Mike Beal had this to say, who is the vice president of player personnel when it comes to Trotter. He said he's kind of an old school Mike backer with the toughness and physicality of it, but at the same time, he still has enough athletic ability and range to play in today's game. You don't see his type of physicality in college that much anymore because it's too much of a sideline to sideline game.
Right.
A lot of lateral action, but he's got that in him. Pair him with Rueben Bain, who we took last night, and we got a lot more tough and physical on defense. He's probably a better run player right now, but he has the instincts to cover. He has enough athletic ability to cover in man. We're comfortable with that. He could be a 3-down player for us. So don't tell them.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
No, just don't tell them that he's not athletic enough to play coverage. I mean, maybe he's not good in coverage right now, but it certainly seems like they feel confident enough with drafting him. And of course, what are they supposed to say? They're not comfortable in him being a 3-down linebacker. A lot of people think he's just a 2-down linebacker. We're about to find out because he's going to get the opportunity, every opportunity to start for this team, to compete and, hopefully unseat the linebackers that were there last year, which is, Savasi
is the only one.
Yeah, Savasi Dennis, because you have no Levante David. You have Alex Anzalone. So how can both of those linebackers work together? But it'll be interesting to see enough athletic ability. And of course, he's got the bloodline. A lot of people laughing about that, saying, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that he was prepared. He's been prepared to be a player in the National Football League because his father played in the National Football League and his brother has played in the National Football League. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be successful, but he has somewhat of a little bit of advantage there with a father that knows the ins and outs of and what to do to get ready to be a professional football player. Just saying.
It's and then I'll just tap into it just a little and we can keep moving. What that means, what you guys like, a lot of these kids, like Peter knows, I coach at these high schools and I coach defensive line. And a lot of these kids don't have fathers or don't have people that can teach them and put them in the right direction. So what my main focus is with those kids is I teach them how to be a professional and how to look at things, at tape, signs, stuff to look for. Imagine yourself in this situation. What do you don't do in this situation? What you will do in this situation. So you can kind of get a picture in your brain for when you see it, when it happens in front of you. And to bring that up because that's what a ex-pro father, ex-NFL coach, whoever that has ins to something like that, those are the nuances that you teach them. At the end of the day, yeah, they have to go out on the field and perform, but that's why you see analysts and stuff say, wow, this kid's got great instincts. He's reading route combinations. He's doing that. Those are the things that I'm telling you that I'm trying to teach these kids and what these parents are teaching these kids. That's the stuff that makes you better is you have to be one step ahead. You can read and react all the time, but your athleticism will only get you so far. How many athletes have you seen coming to the pros, Peter? They look like Tarzan and they play like Jane when they get to the NFL because they look like a man in college. And then once they get with other men, they kind of get weeded out because that athletic ability isn't everything because everybody's athletic at this level at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Booker McFarland told me when I asked him, why is it so tough for young pass rushers to transition over? It's because you're facing guys like Trent Williams, who doesn't seem like he's ever going to come out of the league. He's 38, 39 years old. He's still at the top of his game. Tristan Morris, 26, 25 years old. When you're facing a 20 to 21-year-old kid, of course, you're going to have that advantage. So that's where the rubber meets the road, right? That's where the player has to develop. That's on coaching, getting him ready, but also having the player, be reminded that some of the things that were working in college are not necessarily going to work over in this pro level because they are just as fast as you or faster and much more experienced than you. So that's where the toughest transition, and I keep on saying that transition takes place for that player to come from college football to NFL football. So we'll see how these rookies work out. I think, it's they hope, and this is the reason why they got veterans in the first place in the AQ Muhammad and the A. Sean Robinson and the Nacho, and they have veterans already on this defense. Because you're not asking Rueben Bain Jr. to come in here and be a double-digit sacker. You're putting that pressure on him, but he wants to do that. That he wants to be productive and come in here right away and make a difference. So, but if he doesn't, you do have a AQ Muhammad who had 11.5 sacks. You do have a Yaya Diaby. You have a Kalijah Kancey, of course, who has to stay healthy. So what do we got from these comments here?
I've been going through them. I mean, you've been pretty much talking about it. Like this one here, it says, what do we think about the undrafted guys? We'll get into the undrafted. We just want to go through the top picks so far.
Yeah, so I've been looking at some of them. I mean, the quarterback they got is very raw.
Did not think he'd be there.
I thought he would be there. I thought he was undrafted. Yeah, I mean, everything that I read with him is scouting report because I also do a show called
Scott?
Huh? No. I mean, undrafted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Quarterback.
Oh, what are we talking about? Undrafted guys?
Yeah, Jalen Daniels. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We talking about Yeah, Jalen. They brought him in for a visit, so they had their eyes on him for a while.
Sure. And listen, there's no guarantee that he's going to be the backup quarterback. He may be a camp body. He may be practice squad, but they certainly seem like they like him because they had a top 30 visit with him. So they like what he has. Maybe they can develop him into something. Maybe he's who knows what they're thinking at this point. I know they got a Nebraska linebacker, don't know that much about, but there's a lot of great tape on him. And you know that Jason Light loves his Nebraska linebackers.
Still got Nick Jackson here.
Still Nick Jackson. Again, Savasi Dennis is here, and Roseboom is here. So they've definitely filled that. They've filled that room up. Lots of missed tackles for Mr. Roseboom. So we'll see if he can overcome that. And of course, Savasi Dennis with lots of missed tackles. So that's the reason why you get Trotter in the first place. Sure, tackling machine. The draft on paper looks great. The true story will be told when the season begins. I think according to everything I see and have research on these players, we end up with 4 starters from this class and definitely some rotational players. It's always a good thing. Definitely a good thing. 3rd round, they go with Ted Hurst. Very controversial pick to some Bucs fans because they say you could have gone corner, you could have gone this way, you could have gone that way. And I say, you know what? If they feel like Ted Hurst is going to replace Mike Evans, I'm okay with it. The scouting report on him is 4.42. 40-yard dash at the scouting combine, 6'4", 210, which you can't teach that. And this is what they had to say. With Mike, of course, you're losing a Hall of Fame player, but you're also losing a lot of size and speed, and this guy has those things. Again, this is Mike Beal, the vice president of player personnel for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a small school guy who had the opportunities to go to bigger schools with the NIL stuff and chose to stay at Georgia State and be loyal to them, which is a good thing. That doesn't happen. Oh, by the way, his mother said, don't be chasing money. The money will be there for you. That's from his words and his mother.
That's great advice. And that's
it is. Listen to your mom. Usually your mom is correct about advice. Yeah. He had a really good.
Your work ethic will get you paid.
That's it. And then he goes down to the Senior Bowl, goes against the best down there and stands out in that arena too. Right. And again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to agree with you. I said nothing changed.
Yeah, nothing changed. I mean, again, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Tez Johnson. So you add to that. He also says the skill set that we're talking about here, we're super excited about that room. Emeka last year was huge. As a staff, you want to win now, but you're always kind of looking ahead too. We knew that Mike wasn't going to play forever, and Chris has been here a long time. There's times where you start looking at position groups, and there's one of the reasons we took Emeka last year as well, as he was just the best player. And also mentions that because he was looked at as a Z receiver, they kind of feel like he's going to be an X receiver again to replace Mike Evans. So when people say wide receiver really wasn't a need, yes, it was. Because you don't have a big X wide receiver like you had with Mike Evans. You don't have that red zone threat. People saying it's at reach. How do you know it's a reach? You haven't even seen one snap from this kid with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, to that point, to be fair, Jason Light has had his fair share of hits and misses. This from our friends from Joe Bucks fan. Mike Evans, of course, Hall of Famer. Robert Huron, 6th-round returner prospect, didn't make it. Kenny Bell, we talked about Kenny Bell. Injuries. 5th-round bust. Kalen Clay, 6th-round return. Bucks gave up too soon on him. Chris Godwin, Ring of Honor. Justin Watson, 5th-rounder, 2018, had 3 Super Bowl rings. Got
lost in rotation.
Yep. Scotty Miller, key cog in the Bucs Super Bowl win. Tyler Johnson, big-time catch versus the Saints. One of the big-time catches. Besides that, didn't really do much. Jalen Darden, 4th-round bust now, works in the CFL. Trey Palmer got traded. Caught 54 balls in a postseason touchdown in 2 Bucs seasons. Jalen McMillan, 3rd-round pick on the rise. Emeka Egbuka, big rookie production last season. And Tez Johnson. So, again, there's been a mixed bag. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a player that's going to come in here right away, but you can't teach speed. You can't teach size. And, oh, by the way, if you ask Steve Smith feels like he's the next Larry Fitzgerald. If the Bucs got Larry Fitzgerald in the 3rd round instead of the 1st, that's a win-win. What do you say?
Suck it. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Right. But I think you said the key word. You hear me say this all the time, Peter. The key word in this when I talk about players is skill set is the word. You don't want a team full of the same guys with the same skill set. Can't run certain plays. He has a different skill set. You mentioned it. You can say you can use the technical version or say X. I'll just say it for easier for people to understand. A wide receiver outside the numbers. A guy that could go vertical and could do jump balls. You didn't have that with Chris Godwin. You don't have that with Emeka Egbuka. They're not jump ball guys. So now you have that kind of guy now out on the outside of the numbers that you can do those kind of plays with, and on top of it, he has speed. Now, whether Baker can get it to him or not is another question, but
Correct.
You have that option to be able to stretch the field.
All right. The next day they go in the 4th round. This is what we covered yesterday on that 6-hour extravaganza of the sports web. Keionte Scott, the big time move there at 116. I couldn't believe they were able to get him. I said before the draft, he was highly versatile before the show even starts with J.C. Allen. He's highly versatile. I think he would be the perfect projection for the Bucs at that point because he could play inside, he could play outside, he could play safety. You can move him around as a chess piece like Todd Bowles likes to do. He's a ball hawk. He's come from the Miami Hurricanes. He was one of the main reasons why that program turned around in the first place. So he would be a perfect selection. And sure enough, they get him, Keionte Scott. I mean, how much did you like that move there with him in the 4th round? What a value pick. And again, the versatility for me works. And you see everything that he was able to do for that Hurricane defense. He's one of the big reasons why that Hurricane defense, that Hurricane program had a major turnaround in 2025.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, skill set. You have a guy that can play multiple positions on defense. You're going to need it at some point. Somebody's going to go down banged up. Somebody's going to have to step out. You got to be able to step in. I mean, another guy's that stepped in and played everywhere just like that was Izzian, an undrafted player out of Rutgers. You've gotten max effort and usage out of him as he's played safety, nickel, outside. You've used him everywhere. Keionte Scott is the same type of player. And the first thing Bo said to him on the phone, this defense is tailor-made for you. All you got to do is show up and play.
Yeah.
So he already knows what he's getting himself into. And all you do now is just get the verbiage and all that stuff down.
All right. Now, here's the numbers. 4.33. We definitely got him as an undrafted free agent. Scott was super key. But what they say is ran a blistering 4.33 second 40-yard dash in Miami's pro day. Check out these numbers. 64 tackles, 5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, both returned for touchdowns, 5 passes defense, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and a partridge in a pear tree. Nothing this guy could not do for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team and for that Miami Hurricane defense. Hybrid nickel position for Miami. What the Bucs say is that's kind of the beauty of him as a player, that we see him being able to fill multiple roles, whenever and wherever we need him. You can look at our draft picks over the last 4 or 5 years, especially at the defensive back position, and we've done a lot that our versatility is a big key to those guys. I say nickel is probably his first position and the best position. We see him being able to potentially play safety or even outside corner if that's where he fits best. A lot of people look at this move and say, you dropped the ball, you could have had somebody else. You could have had Jamal McCoy. You couldn't have Jamal McCoy. You could have had him earlier, but there was a knee injury there. Knee injury, red flag. I think you get the perfect person here, and they haven't ruled out the fact that he could be one of your starting corners day one. I think Jacob Parrish definitely is the best corner on this team right now. I think Zion McCollum took a step back, but Parrish is good in the slot. He's good at nickel. So they're gonna have some versatility here. They're gonna have some things that they can work on, and it's a good problem to have because you lose Jamel Dean, and of course you had to fill that, and you may have been able to fill that with Scott possibly playing outside, possibly playing nickel, and this is the versatility of it, what Todd Bowles can do. I love this move all around. He's a playmaker. He's ready to play. Feels like, again, he has a chip on his shoulder, should have been drafted higher than what he was, and now, Blake, he has the opportunity to show that he should have gone higher in the draft.
Absolutely. And it's a good room. He gets to be in a lot of younger guys. And then you got Zion. He's the, I guess he'll be leader of the cornerbacks. But, of course, leader of the secondary will be Winfield, being that he's the oldest veteran there in that secondary. So, and it also means that they're comfortable with JJ Roberts coming off an injury.
Yes.
And then Izzian being able to play safety as well. As you notice, they didn't touch safety in the draft, so that means they're comfortable there, and they really wanted to work on their defensive backs and having versatile players that can have different skill sets to play different spots on that defense. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's a full room, pretty much, wide receiver and defensive back. It's a good problem to have that you have bodies there, and if something happens, you have options.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then they go in the 5th round. They make a trade with Green Bay, so they acquire 2 5th-round picks. They pick 155 and pick 160. And what do they do after that, Blake?
Why you say it like that?
What did they do after that, Blake? What did they do? What did you think about what
the tight end?
Yes. Well, they went tight end in the 6th round because they traded up 10 spots. So they traded their 195 and 229, but they got DeMonte Capehart, who was
defensive tackle out of Clemson.
That's right. Yes. And then they got the offensive tackle, Billy Schraith. I believe that's how you pronounce
anybody
his name.
out of Notre Dame. I like offensive
Notre Dame guard.
Right. I love Notre Dame.
Who once again is what? Versatile. He can play multiple positions. Left guard, right guard, possibly center. He can come in as a depth piece. People go, whoa, that's not a big deal. Why would you do that for? Because you had injuries to your offensive line last year. You had to reshuffle your offensive line.
You got to do something.
Yeah. Joe seems like he's happy. So
he does, definitely. I wish everybody had that. I wish everybody had that kind of attitude. That happy. I loving it, Joe.
Yeah, there you go. Scott was a steal. Dude is all over the field. Always has eyes on the ball. He's everything we need and have been missing in the backfield. He's got the skill, speed. Dude will be a leader on this team. Great pick. Agree. 4th round value. I mean, that's a good move. Zach says, are you guys aware of Donovan Smith's retirement? Don't know if it's true or not. Yes, it is true. He is retired because the Buccaneers have confirmed it. But to go back to DeMonte Capehart from Clemson.
Oh, yeah. Remember I told you about earlier, you need to close the pocket. Mm-hmm. You can't get around the edge. You got to close the pocket. And that's kind of what you did with Bain. Yeah. And that's kind of why I was so big on Banks. You need somebody to close the pocket. They can't get to the edge. Close the damn pocket where there ain't nowhere to throw, because like when we play people like Penix and all that, who's not going to run, if he has no pocket, eyes come down. Now he's looking to get out of there, and then these guys start piling up sacks. So that's what his big 6'7", 6'5", 325-pound frame. He's
6'5", 313. Yeah.
Yep. Close his pockets. That's what he's there for. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to really produce much pass rushing, but if he can close the damn pocket and create disruption, I'm all for it.
I am too. I love the move here. And again, 6'5", 313. Hi, Tammy Young. How do you? Thanks a lot for the Facebook stars. Facebook stars are open right there. YouTube super chats on my channel as we're going live from there. So we appreciate it. Rob DePrez says our depth is so much better than last year or this year compared to last year. Agree with that. This was definitely, I feel, a superior draft class from the Bucs franchise. Scott was super key for our secondary. Go Bucs. Absolutely. Go Bucs. Let's see. Bree's son, happy with the Bucs draft and the undrafted picks. Eric Moreno, is Bucky Irving a hold or sell? Hold on to Bucky Irving. Please don't sell.
Why would we sell?
Why are we selling? Why are we trying to sell the card?
He's part of the whole scheme of the offense. That's why they got 2 backs with the same
I think
skill.
he's talking about rookie cards. He's talking about selling.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on to him. Jeff Moore says A+ draft. Let's see. Peter and Blake got a great undrafted free agent coverage linebacker from Nebraska, Javen Wright. Check out his film. And then Sheldon says huge pickup steal in the first round of the 15th pick. Yeah, I agree. Going back to what Mr. Capehart may provide for this Bucs defense, they've kind of already told you, according to Mike Beal, to put into terms that Bucs fans might understand. He's Will Golston.
Whoa, who?
Yeah, Will Golston. He's that kind of the guy played pretty well for the Bucs. Got better with time. He's that kind of big, long player who can set the edge against the run and plays with a mean demeanor that we covet. Now, he says he doesn't have eye-popping production numbers, but when he tested, he was 313 pounds and ran a 4.8. He's got some – that's pretty good. For 313 pounds, a 4.8, 40, that's pretty good. Again, he's got some impressive athletic traits. Some of the low statistical production is the scheme that they play at Clemson. They weren't asking him to get up the field a lot, but we think he's got the ability to set the edge and be a run stuffer. And we also think he has a little upside as a pass rusher, too, with his athletic ability. He finished off with his numbers in 57 games at Clemson, 3 sacks, 13.5 sacks for loss, 72 tackles. But the Bucs see him with more potential. They also say to get somebody that big and that athletic in the 5th round, a player we think can come in and contribute right away, that was pretty exciting. Remember, they got Elijah Roberts last year, who was in the 5th round, also 4th or 5th round from him. So he's coming off of it. House of Bain, I love that. Tampa Bain, that's a good name. House of Bain, very good. Tampa Bain, he was in Tampa. Players that definitely embraced him. You had Kalijah. Here's my question. I'll throw this out there. So we know Keionte's from Miami. We know Rueben Bain Jr. is from Miami. We know that they've been talking to Lavonte David. Is there any case, I know they drafted Trotter, but is there any case they can convince Lavonte David to come out of retirement, seeing as what the Bucs have done in this offseason so far? Do you think he can get Lavonte David out of retirement? I know he wants to be a father, but he's got to look at this right now and say, maybe this team got better. Maybe we can get another run.
I will shoot a message with that question. I will get back to you the next time we speak.
Okay. That's why I did it. There you go.
I know you did. I will shoot a text.
You have the message.
I'll actually do it while we're on.
Please do. And then 6th round, we give Bauer Sharp. We skipped the offensive lineman, but going back to the offensive lineman there, got hurt last year, had a knee injury. So there's value there. Again, they don't expect him to be a starter right away, but because he is so versatile. Louis from the Frozen Pyre podcast was on with me. He says that he kind of seems like he's a little bit off. I feel like all these players are kind of a little bit off, and that's a good thing. There's nothing bad about that at all. We need a little mean streak. The guy got called while he was playing basketball at this point. He didn't expect a call. He gets a call in the 5th round, and again, like you said, anytime you get a player from Notre Dame, they're going to be well coached. He was well coached with Freeman. He missed some time, so it could be a lot better than a lot of people think. And they've done this before. They drafted a Robert Hansey, who was able to play multiple positions and contribute to this team. And of course, so he's a backup. If anything else, you get him in the 5th round. You get somebody that could have potential and could develop eventually. And then again, they go in the 6th round with Bauer Sharp, LSU tight end. 6'5", 249, really caught their eye here. 24 passes, 252, 2 touchdowns. They say we traded up to get him. He's athletic, a former quarterback. He's a good receiver, sees the game well, feels the game well. And he would expect from a former quarterback. He did really well at the East-West Shrine Bowl, stood out there, then performed well at the Combine, ran well. We brought him in for a top 30 visit. He had a really good energy to him. He was an energetic guy. Talked about how he brings that in the huddle and in the well. It just lined up really well for us with a guy you could say is still ascending after the position switch. His athleticism, as much as anything, is what stands out. At the East-West Shrine, what stood out was his hands and his separation on routes and running past people. We might not have anticipated that speed, and then he backs it up at the Combine, and we saw that and said, wow, he's that fast. And again, Keionte, 59 consecutive passes caught the last 2 years. I still think he could definitely be used in this offense, but we know that Zach Robinson wants to use 2 tight ends. Mm-hmm. So this guy has an opportunity to step in and be one of those 2 tight ends, or it's Devin Culp, or it's Payne Durham, or it's Cole Keep, somebody like that. But they feel like they got better. They were able to trade their 6th and 7th round pick to the Raiders for him. That's how much they think of him. He's coming into a transition again from being a quarterback to now a tight end. So what did you think of this pick? Bauer Sharp from LSU.
I told you the whole draft when we kept talking, what's the word I kept using that for a tight end? We got to get athletic was the word. Mm-hmm. To fit the offense, you need an athletic, not just a big bodied guy. You need an athletic tight end to make it work. So if he's a former quarterback and he's athletic, then yeah, he'll work in this offense with these. Because what you're going to see in this McVay-esque offense, you're going to see a lot of bunch formations. You're going to see a lot of rub routes. You're going to see a lot of ways to free. Basically, like think of football version of the Golden State Warriors. Pick routes, freeing up the shooter, which will be the wide open receiver, to make plays or put themselves in one-on-one winning situations. That's what you're going to see out of this offense.
Yeah. I don't mind it. And I think this offense has an opportunity to really get better than they were last year. Anything is better than Josh Grizzard and his offense, where, again, you're practicing.
I got a response, by the way.
Oh, yeah? And that was?
No.
Okay. Well, I had to throw it out there. I had to definitely throw it out there.
It could change. Who knows?
I mean, you look at it, you got Elijah Cansey there, you got Rueben Bain Jr. I mean, it makes his job easier. I know he's got to get up and train, but, once again, he wants to focus on being a father. But I'm looking at this team right now from when he retired to now, from what they added in the draft and what they have on the field. There's been some improvements. I'm just wondering if Levante wants to be a part of it. That's all.
I said, I don't know how severe his knee pain was, if he got surgery or whatever to it, because I know his knee was bothering him.
Right.
But I don't know. Things could change mid-season. You have injuries or something you might need. Like, stuff could change. Situations change all the time. Look at Brandon Graham, retired, sat in the box on the TV for a while.
Yep.
And they said he got the itch. Like, you got the itch, man. You want to come back. And also, I'm going to tell you, any veteran, you don't want to do that two-a-day shit. You don't want to do none of that camp shit. You don't want to do none of that. That's why you see a lot of guys that come back after that. They don't want to do that crap.
All right. Let's continue to read some of these comments, and then we will get out of here because they got the Lightning game coming on in 15 minutes. It's
right.
We got to watch that game. Rob DePrez, Thompson, JPP should stay home. He wasn't a factor when he came back last year.
Was desperation.
Well, listen, I think he also brought some leadership. He tried. I mean, he brought some leadership, to that locker room.
Did he?
They needed it. They needed something in that locker room last year. That's why they got him. That's why they didn't bring back the majority of the players that finished off 8 and 9. You notice they didn't bring back any of those players.
That and it's a lot of like. I'll try to say it in the easiest way for people to understand. Mm-hmm. Like when people they got, like you said it just there, they didn't bring back a lot of those players, and why you got rid of a lot of the assistant coaches. Mm-hmm. If you have never coached or have you ever been a part of coaching or watch your kids or practice or stuff like that, it's your assistant coaches have a lot more to do with these players than you think they do. Everybody thinks that the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator, they are the only guys that touch your players. That is totally inaccurate. It is so far wrong that it could be. That's why they give praise to these position coaches. The position coaches spend majority of the time implementing what you want them to do, working on the craft, and then when they go over to team, the defensive coordinator incorporates what scheme they're going to be running this week, what they're going to do, who they're going to focus on. It's the same thing with the offense. And I say that because obviously there was some type of miscommunication or lack of coaching, or some of the coaches might not be showing up, for practice and stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you won't know that's happening until somebody goes on one of these podcasts and start telling what's going on. But that's a lot of the things that's probably going on around that time, because there's clearly some type of disconnect happening last year, and that's why you saw a lot of those changes.
Yeah, I think there was some disconnect, and again, they've gotten younger and they've gotten better at those positions. And now, for me, I think it's an A+ draft. I think they've done everything they had to do to fill those needs, get better at those positions, and you bring in players like Bain Jr. and again Keionte Scott. I mean, I think I think just from those two moves alone. But I'm curious to see how Ted Hurst works in this. I'm curious to see
about that one.
Yeah, I am too. And I think Larry Fitzgerald, the comparison there from Steve Smith is kind of intrigued. Very intrigued. Can he catch the ball? Is he one of Jason Licht's spines? in that third round. Jalen McMillan looks pretty good when he can stay healthy.
That was just a freak injury. That was a freak
telling
injury.
Telling you,
There's nothing he could have done about that.
Nothing.
He could have done about it.
All right, let's read more comments. Love it. Peter Blakes is sitting. Rob says he actually got better as he started to get in shape. Give him the off-season workouts to get his upper body strength back. Yeah, why not? I say why not bring him back? If this team comes together like it looks on paper, this offense will succeed. We're putting 17 to 20 on the board weekly. This defense should lock down and bring home the wins. We will be in the mix for a championship this year. Support our team. Go Bucs. I agree. I think the offense could put up more points than that. And
if they're not going to win a lot of games if they only put up 17 to 20. I get what you're trying to say. I get what you're trying to say, but they got to put up more than 17 to 20.
Well, they even struggled to put up 17 or 20 points last year.
Yeah.
And that was because of Baker Mayfield in the second half of the year, whether it was injuries, which we know it was because Levante David validated that. And also
Ray Charles could see that.
Well, yeah. I mean, but Ray Charles could see it, but yet the three T's, the Tampa Toxic Tribe, they did not see it. And they feel like after Baker Mayfield had 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in the first half of the year, that he should be able to overcome an oblique injury, a shoulder injury, a knee injury. I mean, how many injuries did you have? And then you're dealing with an offensive line that was beat up, reshuffled. You have wide receivers that are out. You have running backs that are out. I mean, everything was going wrong for Tampa. It was a complete and total mix. But when you have Baker Mayfield that's banged up and he goes for 13-9, and he has an opportunity here to have a big year, whether he gets an extension or not. I believe he does get an extension here in the next couple of weeks, to the chagrin of some Bucs fans, as they just think he's a bum at this point. They want to draft a rookie quarterback and go back to the
Who are we going to get? That's why I keep saying everybody. Who are we going to get?
They want Arch Manning.
Nobody ever has an answer.
Arch Manning. That's what they want. Okay. Arch Manning.
Is he going to
I had somebody tell me they want Kyler Murray and try to say, well, the reason why I don't like Baker Mayfield is because he's short. And what do you want Kyler Murray for?
And that's when I exit the conversation.
Exactly.
I just exit the conversation.
I want Josh Allen. Josh Allen has 10 postseason interceptions or 10 postseason turnovers.
There you go, Joe. I like that one.
21 to 30 weekly. All depends on Mayfield. Depends on these receivers stepping up, especially Emeka Egbuka. Chris Godwin will have the opportunity, 2 years removed from an injury. We know that Todd Bowles was excited about getting him back to full strength. We know that Chris can do it. We've done it before. He's been one of the top receivers before. So
work ethic, man.
There's all kinds of positives about this team. Everybody wants to sit there and talk about Mike Evans leaving, Levante David retiring. I get it.
It's going to happen one day. It was going to happen.
Of course. It's nothing can last forever. And maybe Tom Brady, even Tom Brady retired eventually. So
it's just a lot of people, that's when they started liking probably the Bucs, and then your guys leave it. That's the sucky part of any sports, college football. You only get them for so many years, NFL, and then the whole regime leaves. Now you got to look at who's the new guys now. It's their turn. It's Tampa's turn now. Yeah. Turn that page. It's their turn.
How healthy is Chris? From Todd Bowles' mouth to everybody else's ears, seems like he's pretty healthy and is excited about it and was talking about this about a month and a half ago, how he was excited to get Chris back. And Chris has to step up, be one of those receivers that can step up. We seen him, a couple years ago, have 97 receptions before dirty hit by the Saints.
Man.
That ends the season. Guys, great show. Baker stays healthy. Bucs will be fine. Yeah, I agree. Baker has to stay healthy. They have to get back to that running game, too. And that's the reason why you bring in Zach Robinson.
He cannot take stupid hits. I love it. Right. Yeah, Baker. I know everybody gets fired. He can't keep doing it. The shoulder injury all came from that Lions game. Remember when he ran and lowered his shoulder? I don't know if it was Azaloni or whoever that was. And that's when the shoulder injury started. Unnecessary hits, shoulder checking corners going out of bounds, bro. You can't do it. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Bucs will need consistent front four pressure. Yep, that's why you get Bain Jr.
Yeah.
And the biggest key to this team, Willie, and it's a great comment, they need Kalijah Kancey to be healthy.
Absolutely.
If Kalijah Kancey is healthy, it's like Gerald McCoy said, and what I've said, he's the biggest key. If he's healthy, that line is different. And now with Bain Jr. being a part of that, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You may have the makings of something here special. Watch out, Bucs fans. Watch out.
Yeah,
watch out now.
And he's coming into his contract year. You know, suddenly everybody's healthy around the contract year for some strange reason. Their injuries on 99, they don't get hurt, but he's coming to his 5th year. I didn't even bring up that part. You got he's on his last year. Vita Vea is on his last year of his contract. Yep. You got a lot. They're gonna have a lot of questions to answer, you know, coming up to this offseason, unless you want to extend people out or whatever.
Listen, if they don't get it done this year, they put it out there with the contracts. They have Ashawn Robinson, 1-year contract for $10 million. Alex Anzalone, I think it's a 1-year or 2-year contract.
2-year with him, yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell, you know, 1-2-year contract. I mean, they're cutting their ties. They're going to move on and they're going to start over again. And I hope they don't start over fully again and firing the coach and the general manager go through this nonsense that they've done in the past. You know, I hope they don't do that. But if they don't get it done this year, then there'll be a lot of changes. Vita Vea is getting up there in age. That's the reason why you drafted Elijah Roberts. It's the reason why you drafted Capehart in the first place. In case of, because when you get older, you don't get healthier, you get worse. Trust me. I get up every day and I feel like there's something wrong with my body that I didn't know I had at this point. So got to take care of that body. It's especially when you get older and you're playing football and you're having those collisions year after year, game after game, minute after minute, second after second, day after day. It's going to take a toll eventually. Extend Baker. Dude is a dog. Go ahead and continue to read.
Oh, my bad.
Dude is a dog. He has so much heart. Is a competitor. And Baker, we trust. Let Baker bake. Go Bucs. Absolutely, go Bucs. Yes. Wait up. Yeah. Fire the cannon. Absolutely agree with that. Willie says Bucs have potential on paper, but the team on both sides needs to find that chemistry. Absolutely. Correct. That's the challenge. How long will it take? Does this happen in training camp? We heard from Jason Light. He feels like this team has a vibe, like a Super Bowl team. We'll see.
Let's check out camp. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
We'll try to get the best coverage we can with camp coming up. These guys getting together, you know, these days, and we'll see what we can get. See what kind of stories we can come up with, and we'll see. I know we're going to run out of time here because we got the lightning coming on here in about 5 minutes. We got to watch the game here. But give me some final thoughts, Blake Anthony, here on the Blake and Blake Show. I know everybody's like, oh, yeah, everybody agrees. No, I don't. I don't always agree. I will say this is probably one of the better drafts I've been excited for from top to bottom. It was a decent draft so far on paper. It looks good. You took chances on guys. They've done some things they don't normally do, and I'm satisfied with how it looks on paper. So let's see how these guys look in camp. Looking forward to see these live scrimmages and see how these guys do with live bullets, and we'll go from there. Peter, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a successful draft at this point. I think any Bucs fan that didn't like it, I don't know what you wanted at this point, but let's see them put it out in the field. You know, off-season workouts are coming up here in about a week. Couple weeks here, you have training camp right around the corner, preseason, and then boom, the season starts, and we got you covered here on Blake and Blake, the Blake and Blake Show, Blake and Blake Sports, whatever you want to call it, and of course the evolution of sports talk television, the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time, and of course for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay Sports Fan, it's your time. We'll be back next week here on the Blake and Blake Show. For Blake Anthony, I'm your host, Peter Blake. We'll see you next time here on the Blake and Blake Show. As always, go Bucs. And tonight, go Bolts.
Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. Let's go.
Do the Shador. Held him up, Peter.
Then there you go, right there. There you go, right there.
See you guys.
See you.